What began as a simple itch for adventure has slowly grown into a swelled ambition for exploration. I have trekked through many a hazardous environment, but this brutal threat of nature, this overgrowth jungle as they call it, makes the everfree forest look like a walk through Sugar Cube Corner. However, it will take more than some terrifying stories and some blood-curdling screams from passersby to scare me. For I am Finn the Pony, Ace Adventurer. But despite my intense passion and skill for journeying into the unknown, I cannot do this alone. I have brought with me a trustworthy and fearless friend of mine. One name, one title. Rosepal, the...
Can I narrate next?
Sure.
I am the mayor for Adventures Galore, the mayor who seeks the knowledge of any culture and any media, the Pegasus who flies through the air, spreading compassion to those who need it the most. For I am Rosepal, the knowledge seeker.
Man, this is so much fun.
I know, right?
Two friends braving one of the most deadly places in all of Equestria. And what a prize we'll have to show for it. Now I say we get our flanks a-moving. Adventure awaits, my Pegasus pal!
Hey Finn, are you alright?
I'm okay. It's just really dark down here. And smelly. And slimy. Yeah, we should probably fly back up there. I'm always one for new adventure, but we should come back here when we're a bit more prepared. I guess taking a detour wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, what else can possibly go wrong?
I could think of a few things.
Hey there, Pony. I'm Rosepal, the mayor who talks about everything MLP Friendship is Magic.
And I'm Finn the Pony, here to entertain all you bronies and Adventure Time fans out there.
Today, we will be taking a closer look at the lost treasure of Griffonstone, the second episode in the season when the cutie map sends our heroines to explore Equestria, specifically the Griffin Kingdom, which both of us and every pony in the whole fandom has been waiting for to see in the show.
This episode certainly has big horseshoes to fill after the plethora of big hits the season's had so far, and with a completely new land to explore and the return of one-shot character Gilda, I'm sure we're all more than intrigued to see the results. So will this episode be as valuable as gold, or is it best to just leave this treasure lost? Well, with a friend by my side and a spark in my mind, I would enjoy nothing more than to show the audience what my thoughts are on this much-anticipated installment. So let us see what the MLP writers have cooked up for us this time.
The episode begins with the map sending both Pinkie Pie and Rainbow Dash to the city of Griffonstone. We get a whole backstory on the Griffins and the kingdom itself from Twilight, which came up with great world building and an interesting fact that Griffins share the same levels of greed like dragons. By the way, the art in the backstory is fantastic attention to detail.
Speaking of Pinkie Pie, am I the only one that's surprised that she actually gets a day off? I mean, based on what we've seen, she is the sole party planner of the town, and this town throws more parties than a pitcher would throw baseballs. But hey, maybe the mayor's finally put down some restrictions to prevent the town from going bankrupt. Anywho, Pinkie and Rainbow set off on their quest, and even though Twilight was not called upon to go with them, she makes sure her friends are more than informed by giving them a self-made travel guide. We hear Twilight narrate a passage from the guide during a travel montage, and listening to the informative detail she puts into it, mixed with her tendency to nerd out every now and then, was absolutely adorable. It's kind of like if your friend was going to BronyCon, but you weren't, so you tell him all the cool stuff it has in store. It's one of the many episodes which show that Twilight can be one of the main six's most relatable members. Well, in my opinion, of course.
After we get a humorous imitation of Twilight from Rainbow Dash, she and Pinkie arrive at Griffonstone, and it turns out what they didn't expect it to be. A run-down city. They then run into Gilda, who we haven't seen since Griffin the Brush-Off way back in Season 1. Not only that, we get to see more of the Griffins themselves, including her grandfather, Grandpa Gruff. We only had seen a few Griffins like Gustav in Mystery on the Friendship Express in Season 2, and the Griffin team in the Equestria games from last season. Right off the bat, Rainbow and Gilda still have a grudge against each other after what happened in Season 1, and I don't blame them. As we may remember, she bullied all the ponies in Ponyville and disowned Rainbow as a friend when Rainbow stood up for her friends, after Gilda thought she was humiliated by Pinkie, even though she was innocent during the meetup at Shikiku Corner.
After we get introduced to our running joke for this episode, seriously, these Griffins are so cheap it would make Mr. Krabs blush. We're told the tale of what happened to this once great city. It turns out that the idol that Twilight mentioned earlier made the Griffins the envy of all other species. It filled them with such pride that they needed no other treasure. And once the treasure was lost, so was their pride, which left Griffonstone as nothing but a broken down civilization. Also, huge bonus points once again for the animation style of the backstory. Kinda reminds me of Kung Fu Panda Legends of Awesomeness. Please tell me I'm not the only one to watch that.
So Rainbow and Pinkie try to figure out why the map sent them to Griffonstone. Rainbow thinks that finding the lost treasure would bring the city back to its original glory, whilst Pinkie thinks there is something else that could be a solution to the problem. So Rainbow heads off to find the idol, whilst Pinkie goes to the library. Well, sort of. Glad Twilight wasn't there to see the library in ruins. She would go nuts.
And trust me, the last thing we need in this scenario is an Alcorn on crazy pills. Anyway, being the bubbly mare of merriment that she is, Pinkie tries to find a way to lift the Griffin's spirits. But pretty much everything that Pinkie would need to do that is completely absent from Griffonstone. No parties, no singing, not even any baked goods. The only delicacy they have are what's known as Griffin scones. And at first they're about as edible as the rocks on a rock farm. But don't you worry, because Pinkie has a master plan! Which we'll see after Rainbow takes the wheel for a bit.
Rainbow goes to a shop to get some climbing gear to retrieve the idol. The owner on the stall goes along with her, and every time Rainbow wants something, she always asks him for bits, thus relating to the Griffin's share of greed. She then arrives at the chasm, and the gale force winds are too dangerous for any pony to fly down. So Rainbow goes down the rope, and then after attempting to fly, she sprains her leg. Ouch! So Rainbow is trapped on the cliff edge and calls for help.
You got fits? Wait!
Jeez, this Griffin is so cheap she wouldn't even throw down a rope to save another life? And I thought Gilda was rude. After a failed attempt to help Rainbow, due to her own stupidity that I was hoping I wouldn't see again, we see the idea that Pinkie had literally been cooking up this whole time.
Scones!
Well, not just the scones by themselves, but more on that later. Pinkie tells Gilda about the jam that Rainbow's in, and then we get the best scene in the episode and a moment that includes one of my favorite things in any canon. Backstory!
Yes, we get to see Rainbow and Gilda in a flashback when they met at the Junior Speedsters flight camp. And young Gilda is so adorable. It turns out that she was shy like Fluttershy was when she went to the camp, and was bullied by the other Pegasi foals, which is the real reason why she bullied others back in Griffin the Brush-Off. I must admit, I didn't like Gilda in that episode, but after seeing this episode though, I have become to like Gilda more, and the Speedsters chant proves it. So after some wise words from Pinkie, Gilda and Pinkie race off to save Rainbow.
And what a daring rescue it was, eventually getting to the point where the victim and both rescuers end up in mortal danger. But in a classic Last Crusade type climax with a priceless treasure on one end of the scale and someone's life on the other, Gilda has to make a choice. The safety of her friends or the possible salvation of her kind. And in the end, she realizes how valuable her friendship with Rainbow truly is and sacrifices the idol to save the day. Way to go, Gilda! You get the Most Improved Since Last Appearance award! And a special mention goes out to last year's winner, Sunset Shimmer. Now scrunch together, I want to get a picture.
So after the rescue, Gilda, Rainbow and Pinkie make up as real friends. And Rainbow comes to realize that the man was sent them not to retrieve the idol, but to actually use friendship to rebuild the city of Griffonstone. And she said that Pinkie was right about it. This is a brilliant way to have a moral based on making friends as a contribution to rebuild a whole city, and Gilda is now the ambassador of Griffonstone, and she is charged to bring friendship, and with this role, she could be making more appearances in future episodes. What do you think, Finn?
Well, when it comes to making friends, the Griffins are certainly no Smurfs, but you can't always expect good things to happen overnight. With some time and effort and good old Gilda at the helm, I can see Griffonstone becoming a society as prosperous as Ponyville. Plus, getting to see Gilda as a recurring character would always be welcome in my book, especially if she comes ready with some stories about what she's done to help her people. So with another Cutie Mark crisis solved, our two heroes return home and the episode concludes with Gummy. who hasn't moved a muscle since his last appearance. What has he been doing this whole time? Well, we get an idea in the next episode, but you'll get no spoilers from me. So that was the lost treasure of Griffonstone, and without a doubt, it's got more value than that golden idol ever will.
Overall, this episode was fantastic. A great redemption arc for Gilda, and possibilities for future appearances. Great world building of the Griffin Kingdom, great interactions between Gilda, Rainbow, and Pinkie, and some great humor as well. This episode really changed my opinions of Gilda from her first appearance in Season 1. I'd give this episode 8 out of 10 stars.
When I saw the synopsis for this episode, I had two major questions on my mind. Will this episode be as good as our last map episode, and will the return of an old one-shot character be done well? And in the end, Lost Treasure of Griffonstone gave me the same answer for both questions.
Yep.
The character interactions range from funny to adorable. The moral of how friendship is more valuable than any kind of treasure was very well executed, and as always, the blast from the past for both Gilda and the Kingdom were really engaging, and gave this episode some great character development and world building. Can't say for certain what the future of the map episodes will hold, but if they're as entertaining as the previous two, I think we may end up with a season-long story arc that may even surpass the key episodes. Put this treasure up on the list, boys. It deserves it.
So here's to the next episode, which is the milestone 100th episode of MLP. Until the big party arrives, I'm Rosepal saying, see you later, every pony.
And I'm Finn the Pony. And even though we weren't able to find any gold or jewels, at least we still have the most valuable treasure of all. A treasured friendship. It would be nice if we could find a way out of here, though. You thinking what I'm thinking? Thanks, Adventure Buddy. Now come on, let's go to the Rift Cafe. I'm buying. Not for you. Alright, come on. But if you eat the bartender, I'm giving you the check.